You carry a camera in your pocket. I mean, most people do. But are you using it to make better art? And I'll tell you how I do. There are lots of pictures of me when I was very small because I was the first child and the first grandchild in my family. But over time, there were fewer and fewer. I mean, there are almost no pictures of my face when it was spotty and adolescent and sported a feeble mustache. And that's the way photography used to be. A thing reserved for special occasions, for weddings, for high school graduations, a brand new baby, for picture frames, and for photo albums. Now, back in the late 20th century, I worked with Kodak, and they told me that the average American family went through just a single roll of film each year, one roll a year. And generally, they would just buy a fresh roll just before their summer vacation. And after getting home, Dad would put the camera away until Christmas. It was always Dad, or usually Dad. And when the last present was unwrapped and Santa had departed, he would take that year's roll to the drugstore to be developed. And that was basically it. One roll of Kodak Instamatic film. Remember those little cute flash cube things? Anyway, that was about the extent of it, photography. Nowadays, we all have a camera with us all the time. When the legendary photographer Henri Cartier-Bresson was asked what was the best camera for a photojournalist to have, his answer was, the best one is the one that you have with you. To take great pictures, the technical aspects of photography are a lot less important than just simply taking a lot of pictures, all kinds of pictures, wherever you are. Just like your dad, I take pictures at birthday parties and on trips to Paris, but I also use my camera as a creative tool, and I use it every day. I take reference photographs to draw from, particularly of moments that might be fleeting or that might be very specific, things that are out in the world but that I need to bring back to my studio to put in my sketchbook. I remember the very first digital camera that I ever owned. It was back in the late 1990s, and it was some sort of a Casio camera, and it took these really low resolution pictures. But its real genius was on the back. There was a little screen, so I could just see that picture that I'd just taken. That was a completely new experience. I could see it instantly, and I could draw from it instantly too. So one of my first pictures was of people stepping off a curb. I knelt down on the sidewalk and I captured their feet from ground level, which is something I could never have drawn from that angle. No way. Instantly, out on the corner of 6th Avenue and Bleecker Street in New York City, I created some amazing reference, and I could use it right there. I could sit down a foot from where I'd taken the picture on the sidewalk and do a quick drawing from that picture. And I did a lot of drawings that ended up looking like the frames from a contact sheet or a roll of film. Drawings that looked photographic. Not because they were just incredibly detailed or realistic. It wasn't that kind of photorealism. But because the angles and the perspective felt like photography more than the usual observation that I would make as an artist. Now, of course, you can find zillions of photos of anything that you want instantly on your laptop, on your phone, on the internet. But I think that those reference pictures that you take yourself have a completely different value. They emerge from your unique view of the world. They're not the same as some stranger's pictures from a book or a website. I also use photography as a way of journaling. Every night after I get into bed, the very first thing I do is I open an app on my phone that's called Day One. And it's a journaling app. And for the last 1,312 days, without fail, I've opened a document that summarized how my day went. I captured everything I did from when I first got out of bed and I walked my dogs and all the way to the moment that I was sitting and writing my journal entry in bed. And sometimes these entries are really long and detailed, and sometimes they're just a bunch of bullet points. But I illustrate the moments of my day in this journal with photographs that I've taken. And I'm pretty deliberate about it. It's not just a matter of flipping through what did I take pictures of today. It's more studied and deliberate. Throughout the day, whenever there's something of interest that's happening, I take a good photograph that's going to capture that moment. And when I first step out my front door with my dogs, I take a picture that reminds me of the weather or of the light or of something unusual on our walk. I might take another picture if I go to the store or if we're cooking something for dinner, or just a picture that represents the mood of the day. Maybe my wife Jenny sitting in the garden with a glass of Chardonnay and a novel. Now, some of these pictures are just run and gun snaps. They're shot from the hip. But usually I make an effort to make a good picture. I usually take at least 10 different shots, varied moments, refining the composition until I find one that's my favorite. And then I open it in the Photos app on my phone, and I crop it and I tweak the exposure a bit. Sometimes I turn it into a black and white image because that feels more evocative, more emotional, more right for the moment. And drawings too. Whenever I fill a page in my sketchbook, I take a picture of it and I add it to my journal. And by the end of the day, I've made anywhere from 1 to a half a dozen images that capture the moments of this day in my life. And if I wonder about a certain event from my past, I can instantly find it in my journal or my photo library. The search function in the Photos app is pretty incredible. I don't know if you knew that. You can just give it a word or two and it will find what you're looking for. You type in the name of the place or even the subject matter, a dog, Jenny, a shoe, something blue, or something blue and Jenny. It combines them. And it does a pretty good job of bringing it up. So I look back at these pictures a lot because big or small, they're the moments that make up my life. They are my everyday matters. Spending some time, even 30 seconds, trying to get that picture right makes it into an interesting creative exercise. Photographs from the first half of my life are all in a single shoebox in the closet. But the pictures from the second half of my life are all in my pocket. They're accessible anywhere. And there are 47,715 photographs in my database. I took 6 more today. Taking photographs like this helps me to see like an artist. It helps me to think about color and composition and other variables of visual art. But they also help you to be present in the moment, to think about what is beautiful around you. They help me to think about what is the essence of this world. What is this particular power of the now? The things that I see and I feel and I record, they're going to make a difference to me in the years to come. And if you'd like to see more practical tips like this one about how to use your creativity better, I've gathered them in a playlist that you can find right here.